Hey Lars, are you the muffin man? Oh. That's foul. Ford things. We don't know how to do Ford things. I don't know what that is. Our next project is for the guys over at Unlimited Diesel Performance. We've let them bring their Ford and contaminate our shop. But no, really, it should be a pretty cool little project. It's an old step-side Lightning. They had a 7.3 POWERSTROKE in it, and they're updating it with a 6.7 liter POWERSTROKE. One of the biggest parts of the project is going to be converting it from a 2-wheel drive to a 4-wheel drive, trying to get the straight axle fit up underneath the engine and still not lifting the truck up too much. It's going to be an interesting challenge. So front half probably going to get pretty much, the frame's going to get cut off, and going to have to put in some kind of a 4-link to support the new axle. And then it's also going to get back halved with a 4-link and an 850 cage. So it'll probably be it'll be a pretty big undertaking. We're going to try to get a good start on it this week, and then we'll probably have to work on it for a while after that as well, and just kind of work it in with our other work. Hey guys, yesterday we got, as you can see, we got the whole drive line out of the flare side. So just a little, I know you can see some when it was in the truck, but this is the drive line that is in it. This is a 6.7 POWERSTROKE with a 5R110 trans, and the truck is originally a 2-wheel drive, and we are going to a 4-wheel drive. These are the axles that we're going to. So we have a lot of cleanup time in them yet, but basically, I guess we'll go back to the truck real quick. So this truck's getting a front 4-link in a front half section. So basically we are going to build new front frame rails, shock towers, everything that needs to basically, hold the engine secure and, to clear the axle, because we have to lift the truck up. So we basically have a clean frame to work with, and now we're just gonna get started on it. So I'm gonna give you a little overview on the Lightning, or flare side, whatever you want to call it. We got the bed off. Front half's cut in half. We're waiting on some brackets so we can do the front hoop and everything on it. But basically we'll kind of show you a little bit on the bed. He wants to retain the factory bed, like the sides, and everything underneath. But we're gonna actually try to cut out a good amount of the floor, the back of it, so if he wants to take the bed off in the future with the cage on it and everything, he can still. And yeah, we're gonna go from there. We're gonna try to get the front half done before we cut the back of it off and start all over again on that. So stay tuned for it. It should be here in a week or so. We got the front of the frame and stuff cleaned up, and we've got our, I don't know what you call them, 4-link brackets or our transition brackets, whatever you want to call them. We've got those all made up and welded in. Pretty much made up a bracket here that the control arms for the axle are going to fasten here, and this plate up here is where the front tubular frame is going to tie into. So got that stuff all squared in and welded in. So next thing to do is to get the axle rolled up underneath it, get the control arms on, so that we can start making the front frame. We're getting the front end put together. We're getting the front hoops done so we can slowly but surely start to put the engine back in and get everything mocked up and getting all the well, basically right now we're just getting everything tacked in, and we're gonna get all the gussets done, and we're probably actually gonna end up making, so when they had put the engine in this truck, they had to take the cab off. So we're gonna try to solve that issue by making this front half of the hoop section basically removable. We're gonna weld ends in so we can bolt it together rather than having, the cab and everything else having to come back off, which once we would do a cage in it, it's gonna be kind of hard to take the cab off. So we're trying to find our ways around that, and yeah, moving along pretty good. So we're gonna try to get a lot more tacked up and done today, and hopefully keep rolling on it. We have the front half more or less situated. Everything is, the main hoops are welded in. We have, getting a lot of measurements to get where the axle is going to sit. A lot more brackets, like crossbars that we're doing. We're finishing up the gusseting right now. Some of the gussets that we're doing for support on the front half. So we're going to keep chugging along on that and hopefully get started on setting the engine back in and getting started on the back half of the cage. As you can see, we have the front majority of the frame done, and we actually decided, since they had such a big engine, they're putting a 6.7 POWERSTROKE in it, we wanted an easy way for them not to have to lift the cab up or anything to get the engine out. So we came up with somewhat of a pretty cool idea. We actually welded the whole frame in and then cut the frame actually in half and put disconnects in it, so you can actually take the half front of the frame off. So you can get the engine in and out a lot easier than trying to lift the cab up or lift it up over the hoop. So yeah, we're just chugging along on it. Lynn's working on the axle for it, trying to get the rack set up. It's doing with a Ford axle. We're used to Dodge stuff, so we're just trying to get a bunch of stuff done on it. I think we got shock brackets and a bunch of mounting stuff for that to go on it, at least on the front side, and should be done here hopefully by the end of this week.
We're working on getting the rack and pinion mounted up here. Pretty much we have to build two separate mount points for it. One here on the diff cover and then a separate one on the axle. Pretty much we'll make so that it's fairly easily removable, so that if you need to get to the diff cover, or if you need to get to the differential, you can take the cover off fairly easily. So just working on making some brackets and getting everything bent up and aligned just right. Have to get the rack positioned properly side to side so that the stem, the steering shaft doesn't hit the frame or the engine. So just working on getting all that stuff arranged and put in the right place.
We got the front half of it done, got the front axle underneath of it. As you probably saw in the past, we got the control arms done, the steering, a lot of that kind of stuff, shock mounts. But we kind of had to put it aside for a minute because we have a lot of other projects going on with our own race coming up. So we had to put it off to the side for a minute, but we're gonna get back on it hopefully in the next month or so. We're still getting Stuart, our other blue Ford that's in the shop, Stuart Ingram's truck. We got the cage done in it, but we have a lot of finishing up to do with it, just getting all the accessories done. Still have race back to do and all that kind of stuff. But we'll get the cage and the back half done on this, so this will be another really fun one to jump back onto and keep rolling on it. So hopefully you'll see a lot more of this truck in the future.